All right, before we kick things off today, we want to talk about a presenting sponsor. That's Miller Lite. You guys know the drill by now. It's easy to feel nostalgic in the summertime, especially when you got a beer in your hand, but not just any beer. Miller Lite is a 96-calorie beer that tastes like beer, and it's perfectly brewed for bonfire stories and memories in the making, or listening to Danny sneeze for the 14th time.
Zero, God bless you. I gave you one. Well, we're in the middle of an ad, Dan.
Yes, we're talking about Miller Lite. Let's make this about Miller Lite, not about your sneezing.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, Dave?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I brought it up.
Listen, Thursday, big news in the Barstool world. I think it would be
A celebratory Miller Lite.
I think it would be appropriate for all of us to have some Miller Lites.
Yep.
It's also the summer Miller Lites are coming to an end. I saw Tuesday was the last day that the sun will set after 8 p.m. until next spring.
Oh, man.
So keep that in mind.
Keep whenever I see a stat like that, I always send it to Dave because he just gets so depressed.
It is sad.
Yeah.
It is. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind when you're drinking your summer Millers here at the date of August 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Make summer moments unforgettable with Miller Lite. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door when you visit MillerLite.com/Redline, or you can find it anywhere that they sell beer. Make sure you celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. All right, bang, bang. Welcome to the Mid Show. We are back. We are sponsored by Miller Lite, and we apparently are a newly owned company by someone who used to own us.
The king has returned.
Yeah, so we unfortunate recording schedule for us. We had everything pre-loaded because the studios were so booked, and we had to go to Bears camp that ended up being canceled, unfortunately, and we did a Bolero event at Buffalo Grove, so just a lot going on. So we're a couple days late, but nevertheless, we're here.
We're here. Dave, floor is yours. You're allowed to say whatever you want now.
Apparently not.
You wanna call anybody out? Because you're allowed to do that now, too.
It's not necessarily a call out as much as
You're handcuffed.
Yeah.
Stifled. Your creative juices are being stifled by the editorial board.
Me.
A.K.A. Nate.
We.
Yes.
Nate, not so. Donald Trump, president number 45. Front runner for the Republican nominee.
Yep.
As the nominee this year.
You tried to
or
block
next
something
year.
about him, and I got shut down.
Well, he was, what was it, campaign rally or something?
He was up in New Hampshire.
He was, right.
Yeah.
He was in New Hampshire campaigning, and they brought up Chris Christie. You know who Chris Christie is, Ed?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, former governor of New Jersey. I don't know why they were talking about him, but someone called him fat in the audience, or a fat pig, and Donald Trump goes, "Don't call Chris Christie a fat pig. That's not nice." in his Trump voice, and it was just hilarious.
It was literally like Shane Gillis was on stage.
Yes,
like,
it was
that's how
like
it
a
came
Shane
across.
Gillis skit.
Yeah.
So I blogged it, and he said no politics. I don't think just because a political figure, a politician, is the subject of a blog doesn't mean a blog is political. It's not like I'm taking sides or anything. I'm like, this is funny.
Do you want to do a live reading of it since it want to get published?
Actually, kind of.
The dog.
How long is it?
The dog is out. I think the dog and the Don's beefs are going to be heightened to an exponential
yes, sir,
level.
they are.
Dante the Dons?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The dog and the Don.
Because now, but I think what everybody needs to know is that like some of the language around gambling might be loosened, but we still have sponsors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like it's not the Wild West.
But I'm like,
but it's the same as what it was before. Yeah, it's a little
It
different.
didn't
but
change that much.
nothing changed really.
No, nothing.
No. Well, like
Aside from we can.
there's some like back end stuff,
Yeah.
but nobody cares about. But then there's some others. Like we're in a world where Mincy works for us again.
Yeah.
Where there's
Yes.
some discretion, and we don't have to like bow to fucking government officials and legislators and regulators. We're not beholden to any of those people now.
I was saying from the standpoint of like what we can say. Like we've always pretty much said whatever we want on the show.
But we did have to follow rules.
For when it comes to gambling, yes.
Yes.
But, correct.
And but like the Mincy thing wasn't a gambling thing. That was more of like the government will come after, the state governments will come after you if you don't get rid of them, and we'll lose our licenses.
Yeah.
So there will be some discretion. in the future.
And here's the thing too.
Like all I said was like, I don't give a shit if you vote red, blue, green, yellow. Doesn't matter. Like this is a funny clip, and that was the blog. And like say, the Queen of England like trips on a banana peel. Like, are you not allowed to blog that?
No, I would advise blogging against anything or saying anything negative or even questioning the Queen.
Okay. If Emmanuel Macron slipped down a banana peel, like walking off of France's Air Force One or whatever their equivalent is.
He's part of the global elite, though.
Whatever. You're not allowed to blog that.
Macron.
So back to everything that happened in general. It's also kind of hard to talk about, too, because there's really only so much you can say, and I think that's the way it is, and that's fine. I think we
know as much as anybody else does.
Yeah. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, as far as everything that's going on, and that's just the way it is.
Everything is full steam ahead, so we're still doing the Chicago office, New York thing. Dave's in there at the time of recording.
Yeah, he's
just
like
ripping everybody a new asshole.
Fucking the paintball gun right now.
It's crazy. Being on that, so for people that, like, I guess a little behind the scenes, we had a all company meeting put on our calendars early Tuesday morning, which is never good.
Nope.
So everyone's like, making conspiracy theories. Is Dave stepping back? Is Erica stepping down? Are there layoffs? Yeah, are there layoffs? And then it was Dave bought the company back for $0.
A reported $1.
Yeah. So
that's like, I was talking to my dad about it yesterday. I'm like, has there ever been a thing like that in business where you sell the company for $500 million and then things transpire in a way where you get it back for essentially nothing? And he like had some reference where it was like, I knew a story about this guy who sold his business for 60, bought it back for 30, built it back up again, and sold it for 120, but like nothing like this. So Dave, I mean, his deal with the devil or whatever KFC used to say is just rolling right along.
Yeah, but I liked a lot of the Penn guys. I really like Jay. Met him at the Dozen Boston show.
I met him a few times. He was great.
Yeah, cool guy. So obviously good luck to them, and that's kind of what it is now. And everything else besides that, we'll let people way more important than us speak on everything else when it comes to what happened or what didn't happen.
Everything I could say.
I don't know exactly, and that's what I mean. Where it's like you can only say so much. So,
do you like being in the weeds like that?
As far as what?
Like not knowing stuff.
Oh, I like to know stuff.
I would prefer not to know stuff. I don't want to know a single thing.
Why?
Like if I knew how to, like it could be for anything, literally. If I knew how to edit videos.
Well, if you know stuff, then you're responsible for this.
Exactly. Like I don't need this. I don't need this information. I'll just show up and do as told.
But don't you feel then there are certain aspects where you might want to have some say in, and then it's like, well, shit, if you don't know that stuff, why, like, how would that work? You know what I mean?
I hate feeling when things are like totally beyond me. Like when you're like watching like.
But there's plenty that is.
What?
Totally beyond you.
Most things.
Yeah, most.
I don't like that feeling. It's like when you see like people arguing about like something political, let's say, about like a policy. And I just have to like sit there and be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know who's right or who's telling the truth or what the facts. Like, I don't know. I don't like that feeling. I wish I would know more stuff.
I'm not talking about that stuff. That stuff I would like to know where the truth lies. I'm talking about like everyday responsibilities. Like I use just because it's in plain sight, like editing videos. I don't ever want to know how to edit a video because then somewhere along the lines I'll be responsible for editing a video. Same thing like this. Like I for like forecasting saying something dumb, I can't say something dumb because I don't know anything. I wouldn't more speak likely, at all.
Yeah, but then you have to know when not to speak. That can be tough
just
too.
Don't ever speak. Don't speak.
When have you ever used that advice?
Plenty over the last year. I don't know if you can do it, but look up like my tweet output on like the past year prior and compared against other years. I bet it's down 80%.
I bet it's down 80%, but I bet it's because you're depressed.
It's not that I'm depressed. It's that
I think you're depressed.
Well, you're talking about the White Sox
and Northwestern and
the White Sox. Like I made a rule with myself this year. I'm not going to say much unless it's positive because I don't want to be that guy on the internet that's just bitching incessantly. You know?
Yeah.
and like nobody likes that guy. That's not.
You save it for here, right here.
I save it for other places and other
Group chats.
yeah
Yeah.
elsewhere. But like I remember Ed asking this a long time ago. Why do you have to have a take on something? You know, it's like you're expected to either way, like one opinion or the other. It's like, well, I'm just not going to say anything.
Well, in regards to what? Everything? Or just like there's stuff you're supposed to comment on?
Of course.
You know, like you're supposed to have some take about the company being sold, right? You work here.
I honestly don't know. Yeah, it's a good thing, right?
I think so.
This is
Right?
one of those
I think
things
it's
where I said this to somebody yesterday too, where Dave has, not you, Dave, Portnoy Dave, has so much like credibility with me because I just feel like he's super honest about everything that if he said it's good, then it's good. Like that's
well put.
Where if other people had said that, I'd be like, well, I don't know, we'll see, you know, like we'll see. But
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Dave has like he's just always honest. Like he kind of just says it how it is. So yeah, I trust it. Must be good. Dave said so.
Danny, you are against it. You don't think it's good.
It's not true. It's slanderous.
Okay.
I was very happy yesterday. Can't wait for you to bring back the Dave Portnoy show.
Yeah, that was tweeted at me a lot. Not happening.
Wow.
But he did text me and said, you're too busy to congratulate me, huh?
Wow.
And I was like, I figured you were getting blown up. Like,
Yeah, I didn't text him.
What would he do if Danny texted him right now?
He'd say, who is this? Why do you have my number?
if he responded. But that's just the Dave.
You want to call him?
Call him now?
Yeah.
No, we do not want to be in his crosshairs right now.
No.
Just be like, hey, Dave, we're working. We're in the middle of a show.
He's absolutely
we do
annihilated.
7 shows a week.
Don't.
I
Nope.
think it'd be best if White Sox Dave called him.
Yeah. Now that would be funny.
Not happening.
No, that would be funny. Fucking Pete, dude. This fucking this shit fucking sucks.
Oh my God.
They logged me
Thank
out
you,
of this
Ed.
fucking email, and now it's asking me every time they log you out, they ask you to do a fucking 6-digit code that's texted to your phone, and they haven't texted me the code. So how am I gonna have the fucking sheet, Pete?
What kind of sheet do you want to look at?
It's actually not Pete anymore. We have a tech guy, but
It is outrageous. What? I don't have anything on my computer anybody wants.
This
Just
is
my bank account.
This is
You
one of
want
those
that?
things
There's nothing in that.
that's supposed to make it efficient. It's called one login, and you can like log into the back end of the blog. You can log into your email. You can log into like your pay stubs. It's like, but it seems less efficient for some reason.
It is. It's a 2-step authentication.
The emails
that's-
they send, I'm not trying to call them out. I'm sure everything they're doing is very necessary, but they use way too much technical jargon. That's shit that I don't have any clue what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like all these like weird like acronyms and stuff. It's like I don't know any of this, dude. Like nobody at this company does other than you guys. You guys are the tech guys. Like you need to dumb this down.
I agree, Dave. We are arm in arm on this. Back to your sneezing. This is, I guess, it's a hypothetical. How often, when someone is sneezing, conservatively 14 times?
That it was the
10
most
plus.
I've seen in a while.
Yeah, like how often are you obligated to say "God bless you"?
Well, when you don't say it for the first 8, I have to.
I
call you
did
out.
say the first
No,
one.
you get 3 tops.
3
Tops.
for that? No.
No.
Tops. I said tops. I'm fine with 1. I'm fine with 2. I don't have a hard stance, but I'm saying tops.
I'll say one. We'll call it quasi genuine one, even though it's just a thing to say. I don't whatever. And then as the sneezing fit continues, I might at the end be like, Jesus bless you, and then but that's it.
It goes from God bless you to Jesus bless you.
Yeah, we had to step it up a notch, get everybody involved.
That's fine. I'm not looking for bless yous, but usually
You were crying about it.
But usually you would say it for the first one,
Which
and
I did.
then I didn't hear it.
You're
But
too busy
for you
dying.
guys to wait till the 6th one, you know, we're a new company now. It shouldn't be like that.
No, that what you're talking about is the old company. I feel like you're going to do like the anonymous snitch on us for not
Complaint.
saying enough God bless yous. That
Can
you
I-
don't
can
feel
I-
welcomed or accepted here.
Can I change the subject real quick and ask something?
yeah.
Sure.
So I've said before, I have blog notifications on for all you guys. And Chief, you just published one that says, "It has come to my attention that I might be ugly."
Yeah.
What is this about?
So I had the Lena Dunham issue last week, and then we had there was this video of this woman who is like she looked like maybe the worst person of all time, and she's talking about how she's gonna be drinking coffee and be just miserable for her husband for the next 3 hours because she'll be super hyper. This girl. And everybody is saying I look like the husband.
Because I don't like it. It's because now my husband has to deal with me all the way home, and we still have another 3.5 hours left.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that video?
I've been tagged in it on
Really?
multiple platforms. And the worst part about it is I can see what people are talking about.
Hold on.
That I kind of look like that guy a little bit. He's got like the terrible beard. I could see it kind of in the eyebrows a little bit. Like, we're not twins, but we might be cousins.
Can I be honest? Like, as much as I'd love to shit on you, you don't look like this guy at all.
You thought I looked more like Lena Dunham than this?
Yeah.
Yes. Easily.
I don't think
And
so.
I
I think
Lena
that
Dunham
side
was-
profile, that's not.
No, dude.
I could see.
That
I could
guy
see what
looks
people
like a
are saying.
fucking like Davy Crockett, like he
He's
wears those
like-
raccoon hats.
We have a similar beard. I could see the
He's
I
got
could
a chin strap.
no. He's got like a faded ass thing like me, where it comes up like just underneath your neck.
Is that a chin strap, Ed?
No, I don't think
It's like an unkept chin
it's
strap.
I could. That's my beard line. Is
No,
what he
no,
has.
I don't know, dude. I kind of agree with Dave. It looks a little more
Well,
strappy.
Look, I think that he could be like my Kentucky-born cousin.
Evil twin.
Listen, you like.
I'd call
Let me
you hot.
shit-
I'd calling you hot.
Let me shake the body dysmorphia out of you. That doesn't look like you.
Then why is the entire internet tagging me in this last 48 hours?
I think it looks like you. He might even be cuter than you, actually.
Thank you.
You think it does
I
look like
could-
him genuinely?
I could see the beard.
The beard and I
Comparisons.
think the eyebrows, I think, are similar from the side.
But I think Lena Dunham is funnier.
I don't think the wires get crossed in a Guess Who board. Just my take.
All right.
If we're
Well,
there.
I'll
I'd
take
like
it.
to see a front profile
Of this guy?
Of this
yeah.
guy, yeah. I don't know, but
Look at if you guys said like I don't think I look like I think I look more like that guy than Lena Dunham.
I think you
Well,
look like
I-
Lena Dunham.
I think that's what you want us to think. You're
Yeah.
Lena Dunham.
that's true.
Barstool Lena.
Yeah,
I don't
this
want to
is
look
a-
like that guy either, but I think if I was gonna say which one I look more like,
You'd take the male.
it's not that I take
the
it.
male
I
and,
think
like,
it's more accurate.
Not like the most
Vile
hated person
bag of milk.
in,
Yeah.
in Hollywood.
Yeah, this guy looks like he's in good shape.
It's
I
young.
don't think he looks like he's in good shape. He's a little milky himself.
I don't know. He looks like he's hunched over in a car, but it
He looks like he wants to off himself, I would say.
Do you want to off yourself?
Oh,
After some of these tweets, I need a little therapy, I feel like. This kind of helped, so thank you guys.
Do we have a BetterHelp ad today?
No.
we don't.
Um,
We do have ChevyDriveChicago.com, though, because Bears fans, big breaking news. The Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers are proud to announce that they are the new official partner of the Chicago Bears. Tailgating this year just got a whole lot more exciting. The all-new Silverado is what you need to kick off your Bears season, isn't it, Chief?
Oh, it's the absolute best. I want to be driving in one of those Chevy trucks. Colorados are great, too. You pull in, you pop that tailgate, you're set up for the day. I kind of think you're driving what Justin Fields drives. Like, that's the car to have. That's the truck to have rolling into the South lot this year.
I agree. And you could head to ChevyDriveChicago.com to shop and find your local Chevy dealer today. It's that simple. Even if you don't want a truck, you could have a good tailgate with an Equinox.
Totally.
Have a nice tailgate
Yep.
with a Traverse.
Mm-hmm.
you can have a nice tailgate with a Malibu. All you need is a case of Miller Lite and just open all the doors, throw the music
One
on.
of
Your
those mini grills.
Yeah.
Love
Just
that.
screw a propane in there. Bring a bag of charcoal.
Car is what you make it.
Yeah, car is what you make it. That's right, Danny. Go to ChevyDriveChicago.com to grab your car today. You want to get Big T in here? He's in here. He's one of the new people we haven't had.
Yeah, let's get Big T in here.
You want to go grab
Big
him?
T.
I don't
No
think
way
he can
he's
hear
here.
Throw something
He
at
heard
the
me
window.
earlier.
Yeah.
I'll grab him.
Did he? All right, Chief's going to go grab him. In the meantime, did you watch this Johnny Manziel documentary?
I did not. It is on the. I was gonna do it today, but it's probably not gonna happen today either because we're busy all day. But It is on the very, very soon to do list. I fell asleep waiting for Hard Knocks last night.
He declined.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Declined.
He's got a macro dosing meeting.
That's Dave's. What
I was gonna have some fun with Big T right there.
were you going to do to him?
Oh, we're gonna talk some Smitty.
Um,
You think I'm like rivals with Cons and all that? Like that's not a rivalry. Smitty and Big T have it's hatred.
Genuine?
oh, Smitty versus Big T?
Well, Big T hates Smitty
Yeah.
Why does he hate Smith?
because Smitty just trashes him all day and makes fun of him. And I think it'd be a good time for considering the circumstances of this morning for Big T to air his grievances with Smitty. But I guess he's too good for us.
Get into it more, Dave. So you were going to watch it, but what's your take on the Johnny Manziel doc?
I don't have one.
Okay. All right.
Not yet.
Have you seen it?
I haven't watched it yet.
But the quotes that are coming out of it are crazy.
Yeah, I
Where
have
he
seen
made
them.
up being the grandson of an oil baron.
He made up being being
Yeah.
an oil money kid.
Yep.
He almost had his dad fake a heart attack to get out of the drug test at the NFL draft. And the third one, his iPad said he watched 0.0 hours of film when he got to the Browns.
I saw a clip of PMT. I'm blank on the guy's name. The coordinator for Kyle Shanahan. So he was with the Browns when Johnny got there, and he had a very diplomatic reason as to why Johnny didn't have success there. And it was, hey, because everyone was like, why didn't you just run the offense you ran with RG3 in Washington? His quote was, well, RG3 ran a 4-4, 4-3-4, and Johnny Manziel ran a 4-6-8.
Yeah,
And he's like, he can't get to the edge, so he has to do like QB power, QB draw, and he's like, he would have got killed, and he just wasn't set up to succeed from the beginning. That was very nice considering what you're saying. He didn't watch any tape. So he's like, he wasn't ready to be a pocket passer. Well, how do you get ready? You probably have to watch a little bit of tape.
just a little.
A little bit.
You do.
Yeah.
You certainly do. But I'm definitely gonna. I want to watch the Jake Paul one too. I heard that's very good as well. So those are good. We had the
it's those same guys.
Yep, the Untold
Untold
series.
guys.
We had those guys on Dog Walk.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, big news too. If you follow us on social, you probably saw Chief getting into it with Nicky Smokes. But the conference realignment is kind of the talk of college football right now. So if you want to, get your cup of tea and kick off your loafers and get your old man on,
You want me to grab Nikki?
the floor is yours.
I can't talk to that kid.
I
anymore.
think we should. I think you should. I think we should grab him.
I can't. Dan, look it.
What?
Because he's a hard guy to talk. Like, you can't have a conversation with him.
All right. Well, give us your piece before
All right,
he walks in.
before he walks in, hold on. Tell him to wait a minute. Tell him to wait a minute.
We'll keep an eye out.
I do think that this is a bad long-term strategy for the sport of college football. I think you're going to make it into a situation where if you do all the Power Fives and a few of the others, you probably have, let's say, 80 relevant college football fan bases. If you trim that down to 40, you're just going to have less pieces of the country and less places that are passionate about college football because they don't have anything to play for. And you're basically just turning what was something great, the Iowas, the Washington States, the Northwesterns, where these teams could have a magical year and end up in the Rose Bowl, that it would sustain their fan base for a decade if you do that once in a decade. Now, like, Iowa might be able to have a year where they beat Michigan and catch Ohio State in a weird weather snow game and end up in the Rose Bowl and win the Big Ten. Well, they're not going to be able to beat Oregon, Washington, USC, Ohio State, and Michigan. And then what does that conference championship even mean? Because you're only going to be playing, 40% of the league in a given year. So then it's like, how do you even determine a conference champion? It's like you're getting rid of, you're stripping away everything that made college football special for the last 150 years for a short-term money grab. And it's huge money, but I don't. And then it's, where does that money go? Because these are non-for-profit organizations. They just go back to the administrators. So they just pay themselves more. and it's not it's all it is. It's just about the people running the programs that are just going to be more wealthy, and that's fucked up because it's not in the best interest of the sport. It's not in the best interest of the institution itself. It's really just for like the people at the top are going to benefit the most, and that makes me kind of sick that they're going to ruin college football for half of the schools that were playing major college football for 150 years.
Yeah, listen, I'd like to fully state off the bat that I don't like it because I'm old and it's easy Power 5 with just about the same amount of teams in each 5 conferences. I like it. I think it's fine. Sure, conferences go up and down. I think it fucking would be a better strategy to just make the Pac-12 great again than just like completely fold
and this
it.
is we're going to end up with 2 because the ACC is going to look at, and it's going to be Florida State and Clemson are going to be like, why are we in Miami? Probably those 3 probably go to the SEC, and then the ACC collapses.
But with what you're saying, typically those are the worst college football like playoffs. When like those teams sneak in, it's cool. It's a great story, but what are
you talking about?
Michigan making it in, Michigan State. Sorry, remember that? Like Michigan State making it, Washington making it in. TCU, they won a game this year, which is awesome, but it was the worst national championship of all time.
Yeah, but I think that's
like traditionally when teams sneak in, which I agree, I'm all for it. Like I buy into the story. I like when I went for the little guy, but I think there is an argument to be made that when it does happen, it's the worst possible result at the end.
So,
and you're just kind of sitting there with a gluten-free
I think that
pie.
has to do more with Nick Saban and Alabama which is a temporary thing as well. You know, even though it's like the Nick Saban is inevitable meme. I think when Nick Saban leaves Alabama someday in the next, he's almost 70 years old, I think. If he leaves in the next 10 years, like Alabama, and that's like a conservative 10, it would probably be sooner than that. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I'm just saying he's a good-looking 70-year-old.
Yeah,
like, he is old.
He
I know.
is.
He's older than Belichick.
Yeah, crazy.
Right. So I think when he leaves, then I do think there will be a natural situation where there's more parity across college football because he's just such like a juggernaut that it would be hard to replicate what he's done at Bama. So when it's because Alabama did play both, I think they played Michigan State, the 2 that you referenced, and Washington. And I think they beat Washington 28-3. The game was never in doubt, and Michigan State was something similar, never in doubt, and not even exciting. But I do think that, you know, if you left things the way they were, then you would have some years where the 1 seed wasn't it this year the 1 seed lost to TCU, right? Or no, was it Georgia?
Georgia was the 1 seed. Michigan was the 2 seed.
They lost to TCU, and I think that you would have more of that.
Yeah, but that's set up to be the worst college football championship ever.
This year, like I still think we're like having the college football championship is a thing that's in its infancy, and Saban's been there the whole time. So I think that I think parity across many more teams and many more leagues is a good thing, and I really always thought that they should have been. I thought the number should have been 6 for playoffs. That you have the top 2 get a bye, the other 4 do like your traditional playoff or whatever in the bowls, and then you play the championship, whatever.
But I'll hear that argument too. That an expanded playoff kind of weeds out the upsets probably in the next round.
Yeah.
Like that, so you won't get this,
or maybe you will. Like, and that's something that makes like the TCU winning that game was awesome. It was unexpected. It was awesome. Like we were on our way to Sydney's Farm when they played the Big 12 championship, and they barely win that game
against Kansas
State, and it was like it was a great story that come from behind the kid at the goal line, and those are the types of things. That this is TCU. This is a team that was in the Mountain West 10 years ago.
Yeah, but you're still not fully acknowledging that they lost 65-7 in the big one.
Yeah,
you're not like real. I feel like you're not grasping.
All right, but let's
how
go.
Bad that
sure,
was.
But then go back. It was bad.
Yeah,
it was bad. But like I remember Miami beating the brakes off of Nebraska 20 years ago. I remember USC beating the shit out of people. I like that happens in bowl games forever. So. It's like that to me is almost like a recency bias. Like, we can't have this. Well, you know what? We've kind of always had that. We've kind of always had. You had games where it was Florida, Ohio State, and in the national championship game, and Florida beat the absolute shit out of them. Okay, and that just happens in college football. You give these teams a month off to prepare, or and I guess in this case it was 10 days for the championship. But I think that is a thing that happens a lot in college football, especially at the end of the year. You just get these blowouts, and that has happened certainly for basically my entire life with the BCS. Florida State waxing. I feel like they beat Virginia Tech.
Sure,
pretty
blowouts
handily.
are going to happen. Clemson hosed Bama that year too.
Yeah.
As a 2019. Like they're going to happen, but you could kind of live with them happening more if it's the two teams that are supposed to be there.
But then I think that's a tough discussion of
listen,
of supposed to be there.
I'm just here for fodder. Like
I understand.
Like I do. Like Max Duggan was.
Yeah.
Like I loved watching that guy
Right.
play, and I was like, of course, give one time. Beat Georgia one time, but then this is what a lot of people would argue is like, no, I don't want one time. I just want the two best teams. I'm
But
kind
they
of in the
earned
middle.
it.
I'm kind
They
of.
earned
They
it.
did earn it. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the middle.
So I am of the opinion that Georgia would have done something similar to Ohio State or
Michigan.
or Michigan. Like it's just that team that year with that defense.
Well, they did beat Ohio State.
They did beat Ohio State. What was the score of that
It
game?
was close.
It was close.
Oh yeah,
Last
you're right.
second,
You're
yeah.
right. You're right.
Last second,
Yeah, and I do think there's a thing where it's like maybe TCU is just like the moment was too big for those guys in that moment, but they beat Michigan. It's almost like I think your argument holds more water if Michigan beat them 65-7. But they showed up. They played a
sure.
team that everyone thought Michigan was a heavy favorite in that game, and they hung one on them.
What about? But like, I also think too. Like, maybe the dust just needs to settle a little bit here. Like, who knows? Maybe they do. If they have control of all these teams, if you put the right people in charge, they might be able to figure out something cool.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like an East versus West championship or a North versus, I don't know. Like a fucking,
I don't think you can put the toothpaste back in the tube, though. So it's like you have something that is beautiful and it works. And I wrote this. I went looking for this. I wrote this blog last year. They had the European. Remember, like they had the European Super League was going to form, and it was going to take 6 teams from England and the top 2 or 3 from Spain, and there was like protests and riots in the streets.
Yeah.
Of even the teams that were going to leave. It wasn't just like the small teams were getting fucked. It was like the teams that was the fans that were steeped in tradition. It was like, man, I wish college football had that ability. And when I was a kid, there was a video game. It was Bill Walsh College Football 1995. It was my favorite, like maybe my favorite video game of all time. They had like 36 teams in that game because they had, it's rights. It's all, they didn't have like the data storage, the cartridge. So you had Notre Dame, Florida State, Army, Navy, Colorado, like all the best 36 teams, and then Army and Navy, right? And then you were allowed to do a 16-team playoff. It's like that kind of sucked because you didn't have like all the special teams, and it's like that game is coming to reality. So we're gonna have, instead of 36 teams, we're gonna have about 40. Once it all really settles, we're gonna have about 40. And then you're going to have a 12 or who knows, maybe a 16-team playoff someday. So it's like your regular season where it's like, holy shit, Illinois just beat Ohio State and ruined their fucking season. Or in years past where it was like Ohio State and Michigan, one of them's undefeated, they lose. That swings everything. And that is going to be gone. You lose that game, fuck it, who cares? We're in this 12-team playoff. Notre Dame last year, okay? They lost to fucking Marshall. And by the end of the year, if it was a 12-team playoff, I can't remember how they finished up, but they were like in the, starting to climb back up the standings. So they ripped off 8 in a row. That sucks. You lose to Marshall in September, your season should be over. Like every game in the regular season of college football,
Teams can't get better.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Why?
I disagree with that.
But why?
I think
Because
that's like
teams
a flaw.
can play better.
But you're diluting the
I get
value
that
of week to week, where you have to show up every week. You have to show up every week in college football. Otherwise, your big goals could be over.
But yeah, I understand that. But even if there's wins and losses and teams lose a couple more, there's still always going to be debate about who's going to get those last few spots. Always.
If the last 2 spots. The last 2.
The last couple. Who knows? It might not be 2. It could be 4. Whatever.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's like they don't really have any aspirations. Those teams are probably the TCUs, and the people are going to get smoked anyways. So in the playoff. I want it to matter if Alabama goes to Tennessee and lays an egg. You know, like that them losing.
Yeah, it'll totally lose some.
It does
some
week
steam.
to week. It's just because the stakes aren't going to be as high because if you lose,
Yeah, but if you
that's
think
not
those
gonna-
guys are going to go in there and like just
Like, oh, we don't care.
That's
We're-
not
that's
gonna
we're
college
not
football.
gonna-
That happens all the time. That happens all the time where you have these kids and they make the stupid college football plays and they didn't focus enough that week, and that happens all the time. And it's like, you guys know that. You guys know that these kids that are 19.
no, but we're saying like they're going to roll in there and be like, yeah, we're going to give a half-ass game plan, like we're
Yeah.
going to go 90%.
No, we don't
No,
gotta.
that's not going to happen.
I don't. It's not like a conscious decision, but yeah, I think if it is inherently a thing where if it's like, yeah, if we drop one, it's not the same ramifications as if we dropped
But
one.
that's how you would be feeling after the game, not before the game.
Do you feel that way about the NFL?
Yes, the NFL week to week does not have the stakes. If the Bears start off 2-2, you're like, oh, okay.
Of course, it doesn't have the stakes, but it's still a fine format. Is my point. Like it's still
it's
a
a
format where
completely-
you will watch all 17 games, and you'll
Right,
still
and
be
I'm still gonna watch college football because they own Saturday, but I don't think I'll be as passionate about it because every week is not gonna feel like life and death for every program. You know, it's like Notre Dame. I remember watching it somewhere where I think it was a game against Vanderbilt, and they had like legitimate, playoff aspirations that year, and it was like they're down by 6 on September 12th. I'm making up the date. It was early September to Vanderbilt at home. If they lose this game, they're not making the playoffs. And it adds like that level of drama to every single week that if it's like, well, we lost, recoup. And if we, go 9-1 the rest of the way, we end up 10-2, we got a good shot of being in the playoffs. Like that fucking blows. I want every game to matter. And I want it to matter for the small schools too, where it's like they win that game and like, it's different. Everybody's kind of playing at a different thing. But like that year where, remember when they had Harbaugh was at Stanford and Pete Carroll was still at SC and Stanford upset him. It was like one of the biggest, maybe like the biggest. They might have been like
It was
a
28-point dog,
something like that.
yeah.
Like maybe one of the biggest upsets of all time, if not the
They're
biggest.
huge. I remember.
And it was, and like that ruined SC season. That was kind of like the end of SC.
Yeah.
And it's like that win for Stanford, even though like, they're not going to do it. Like Stanford football doesn't even fucking exist anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the true crazy part.
That's bullshit.
Those 4 teams are.
They're fucked. And like, what are we going to not have? Like Oregon State and Washington State, those don't matter anymore. Like, that's not right. Like that's not good. That's not good for college football. And if you think it is because you're going to get an extra Oregon Indiana game, that's fucking like you're an idiot. So I think it's wrong, and I think it's nothing but a cash grab, and it's not good for college football. And this is not over. You're going to lose Virginia football. You're going to lose all these other kind of like teams that if they get to 8 wins, it's a good year. All of those teams are going by the wayside because as soon as Clemson, Florida State, and Miami decided, hey, we're going to join the SEC, which is now going to expand to fucking 22 teams or whatever, 20 teams, and the Big Ten snatches up, who knows, and then they're at 20 teams, and that's the end of it. You're going to have a 40-team league, and the difference with the NFL is there's a draft, there's free agency. You're always, like you're kind of building towards something. College football, like, and I'm conflicted on the NIL and the transfer things because it's like they should get paid and they should have some rights, but it's like, it used to mean something to go 4 years through a program. And it wasn't just like, well, I didn't start this year, so let me jump in the transfer portal. Like having to work for something, and it's like, who are returning starters? And it's like, you're building a culture, you're building a program. Now it's just like, I don't know that all these changes are good long term for what the sport was. And it's like, is the recruiting trail going to matter like it used to? Probably not. Dave's not going to be on the he'll be in the transfer portal message boards and not in the recruiting message boards.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with realignment.
It's the state of college football as a whole. Yeah. And the realignment is the most.
It would never happen, and I don't even know how it actually does happen in the EPL or English soccer, but relegation would be awesome.
Yeah, if they offered that as a system,
Like a Northwestern would never in a million years agree to that.
they
They get the money anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, but when that TV contract is up for the Big Ten in 2030 or whatever, what's to stop the other members from being like, why are we subsidizing Northwestern football? They got this shitty little stadium. We don't care that they're original member because they have enough new members that they could just, let's vote them out and let's get some other bigger.
Couldn't.
Why?
They legally couldn't.
Forever? Mm-hmm. How? Is it in the charter?
It was explained to me yesterday.
It's in the charter?
I believe. I don't. It's all legal jargon and shit, but they couldn't.
Okay, because they voted out Lake Forest College back in the day.
Were they a founding member?
They were.
And it's U of C.
Yeah, it was like.
But I think those schools also opted to leave. Like Northwestern could definitely.
No, they brought in Michigan in the dead of the night and kicked Lake Forest out. That was
the story.
Yeah, I can't remember what sport it was, but like Lake Forest and it was literally like 1890.
I'm so mad at Northwestern as well. I was talking to one of my Northwestern guys yesterday. It was yesterday, whatever it was, last day or two, and I'm like, the Big Ten should just kick Northwestern out and like get rid of them. And they're like, yeah, well, that's an impossibility Northwestern would have. And he started explaining the why. I wish it was a text I could just send it, but he said like legally they cannot do that. But to your point, they should.
They should kick out Northwestern?
Fuck yeah.
Well, you say that now, but if all the stuff didn't transpire.
Of course.
Yeah, and it's like a team like Northwestern. Like they were a team that, they're one of those teams that's like a middling team that, you went to the Big Ten championship. They had
twice,
that.
Yeah.
With
2 and 3 years they won.
Yeah, so they've had some great years.
Mm-hmm.
I just think naturally sports storylines will happen and shit will be shaken up. And it will be different, but that doesn't mean it won't be competitive and there won't be things to watch. And that's what I mean.
Well, that's the thing. I said I will watch it.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch. They own Saturdays. It won't have my heart the way that it used to.
See, I don't know if you can say that.
I know myself. I know myself.
What do you mean? You thought you looked like that guy 20 minutes ago.
No.
You don't know
You
yourself.
kind of look like that guy.
The fuck?
What?
You always say about you reserve the right to change opinion.
Yeah.
So you can't say that. You can say that you reserve the right to change
Tell
your
'em,
opinion
Dave.
on college football.
All right. How about this as an example? I think that my college basketball fandom took a dip when they did all these realignments. And what happens when North Carolina goes to the SEC too? And then, and it's like, what are you going to get, Duke North Carolina basketball once a year? Like, I think all the changes with everybody going, like college basketball in the 90s and early 2000s, I think was a better product for fan.
Or were you younger and you cared more because you didn't have real life things?
There's an element of that for sure. But there was something about like, all right, we got J.J. Redick and Tyler Hansbrough back 4 years. We got Juan Dixon and Steve Blake in the ACC. We're gonna watch. Like I know these teams. When I watch Maryland,
I could name that whole fucking Maryland.
Right.
Juan Dixon.
Yeah. Wilcox,
Chris Wilcox, Lonnie Baxter.
Yep.
Steve Blake.
They have one more. I can't think of the last guy.
Who's the last guy?
They really only played like 6 guys on that team. They won the national.
Danielle Marshall.
He was a UConn guy. They had Danielle Marshall and Donnie Marshall were both UConn guys.
I mixed up him and Lonnie Baxter.
Yeah.
There's Paul Sledge.
But like when I watch college basketball now, it's like you're watching the laundry. Like everybody's just they're anonymous.
Yeah.
Like you don't care about you don't like I want to watch fucking Tyler Hansborough's bloody face against Duke. Like I want to watch that.
Yeah, but I don't think this has much to do with realignment. That's my point.
No, it is. It does because that's what I was.
You're explaining one and done.
I got interrupted and we got off course. The one and done is a problem, but my overall thing was how college basketball was, where you had the Big East rivalries, where it was like you had Big Monday for the Big East, and you were going to get Syracuse against Georgetown, and you knew players on both teams, and you had these traditional rivalries, and then it was like, wait, like I don't have Maryland against Duke on Saturday morning. It's Maryland against fucking Rutgers or Maryland against, Michigan State, which even if Maryland and Michigan State were both going to be tournament teams, it doesn't hit the same way as Maryland against one of their traditional ACC rivals. So that to me, I'm like, I don't care about, I have no connection to Maryland or Duke. And I don't really have, I'm not like a Duke hater or lover. I don't really have an opinion. But I would watch that game because that game mattered. They hated each other. You're not gonna be able to recreate that, and they haven't been able to recreate.
And they've tried to.
And they've in college basketball, and UConn's in the Big East, and they're in the AC. Then now they're gonna be in the Big 12. Then they're back to the Big East. And it's
I lost track.
you can't. Yeah, it's just like the Big East. Like that used to be like the shit. Like that was a league that everybody watched. Madison Square Garden, and the Big East is a very good league now. They got a ton of really good teams, but like it doesn't have the same buzz that it did back in the early 2000s. It just doesn't. And college basketball in general, because I do think that the one and done thing.
Yeah,
really
but that's
hurt.
not. I'm just trying to point.
And
like,
realignment
it has
really
much more
hurt.
to do with one and done than realignment.
I think it's
much more.
I think it's a combination, but the one and done thing, I think that matters for college football too, with everybody jumping around all the time. So if it, like you saw like the kid,
If you didn't have one and done, you would there would be new rivalries established, and you would warm up to.
but
those
even
more.
even like a thing, and again, like I hate saying to kids that you shouldn't have the right to transfer, because it's like you should. You make a decision when you're 18 and then you can't better yourself. But like that Jordan Addison, he got drafted by the Vikings. He won the Biletnikoff at Pitt with Kenny Pickett. Pitt had a great year. I think they might have been in one of the New Year's Six bowls. They had an awesome year. I think they won the ACC or went to the ACC championship. And then the next year,
the highest bidder. Yep.
He goes to USC, and it's like, well, that fucking sucks. Like that sucks. Like that guy, you spend two years at Pitt, you have a monster year, 2 or 3 years at Pitt, and then you're like, USC's got he recruits Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley, and like that's just, there's something that just like, while he should have the right to do it, it does kind of suck that it happens. So I think that to me is an equivalent.
It would also
quasi one and done.
Suck to wash out at.
But how do you know he's going to wash out? He just won the Biletnikoff.
Because Pitt lost Kenny Pickett.
They lost Kenny Pickett, but they had a grad transfer come in. I think they had
Keaton
Keaton Slovis,
Slovis.
your man, your Heisman Trophy guy.
Fuck him.
Yeah. So, but that's,
What do you got, Jack?
I was just saying yesterday, Chief and I talked about this like long after the Nicky Smokes thing too, and I think Chief's argument is more like keeping the power conferences in geographical boundaries makes more of those rivalries like more important for every game, especially in college football, when like Illinois is going to have a much harder time now getting to the Big Ten championship with the addition of USC and UCLA and Oregon and Washington, because all those programs are just as good, but there's still going to be those like one-off, hey, we beat USC, we're going to storm the field, but it's going to be much harder for them to put together like a 10-win season than they would be able to do like right now. And I think that was Chief's main argument yesterday that you were straying away from was like.
Well, I do think the regionality factor matters. And I think that if you look at college football historically, there's one region of the country that never really latched onto it, which is the Northeast. And it's because they never had a real conference. Like they kind of formed the Big East and then they made Big East football. But Syracuse, Penn State, Rutgers, Boston College, all of them were independents until like the late 80s.
Well,
they were all just independent football programs, kind of like Notre Dame. And then so they didn't have like this like, hey, like we're going to get behind Syracuse because we're going to go and we're going to win the Big East. They were just all this amorphous like group of programs that kind of had, call it Pitt. Like Pitt was great in the 80s, but they weren't a part of a conference. Like they were an independent. Penn State was an independent. If they had the tradition of having major conference championships like the rest of the country, I wonder if college football would have had more staying power like it did everywhere else. And now it's like, now you've erased that. Now the whole country is kind of the Big East because you don't have this regional college conference anymore.
Yeah, but it also helped if some of these programs didn't go down for a decade like they just did,
Who?
Like of course it was awesome when Louisville initially joined. They won the title with Russ Smith and that team with Pitino.
Yep.
And I think Syracuse started hot when they went to the ACC.
Yeah, for basketball.
But like Syracuse and Louisville have been like kind of dead for like a couple years now. you know?
I wonder.
And those are like you could warm up to like give me big Syracuse versus fucking Duke or NC like that.
Yeah, but that's like another thing where it's like we've talked about Nebraska on here 100 times. Nebraska coming to the Big Ten really kind of killed some of their recruiting base because they're not able to recruit Texas the way that they used to. And I think that maybe some of that could be applied to Syracuse too. Syracuse used to be able to be like, hey, like, you're a New York City kid, you come up here. We're going to play St. John's. We're going to play Seton Hall. Your parents and everybody will be able to go to all these games all year long. They're not going to, like, I think that maybe there's a little bit less, or even if you're, you know, like Carmelo Anthony, you're from Maryland. Like, you come up to Syracuse, we're still going to go down, and you're gonna play Georgetown, and parents get on the bus or the train up to Philadelphia, and you know, and it's like there was a regionality, okay, for Syracuse. Syracuse doesn't have any region. I think they have a harder time recruiting, and Boeheim's getting old, but I think that they're probably having a harder time recruiting in the ACC than they ever did in the Big East. I think there's something to that.
Yeah, we could move off this.
We could check that out.
You want to hear Nicky Smoke's rebuttal?
We saw it all. We spent enough time on this. Can you pull up the picture, Jack or Lance, of the two puppets yelling at the courtroom, the two old puppets?
Muppets.
No, I don't think they're Muppets, are they?
Yeah, they're Muppets.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Can you pull up those guys?
Was I yelling? I don't think I sound old. I think I sound right. This is not old man yells at cloud. This is a thought out.
Can I be honest? I just love those guys.
They are great.
There's like it's like such a niche Big Cat tweet. It wasn't even like a big tweet, but it was like RA and Frank the Tank talking about the Brooklyn Dodgers in the gambling game, and he just used a picture of the two old courtroom puppets.
Yeah, I think Muppets. I think
Just as a fact check, Syracuse has 2 top 50 basketball recruits committed for the current recruiting class, which is like good for. I haven't looked up the rankings, but that'd be like top 10 in the country.
No, I don't think that. If you look up,
they're at like an opera.
It's like old Muppets.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the first.
Yeah, old Muppets.
You like these guys?
Yeah, who doesn't like these guys?
The
two cranky old Muppets. I've got them up right now.
They're in Abraham Lincoln Suite.
Yeah, that's what it is. They're at an opera or something, or a play.
These
Yeah,
guys
those guys
crack me up,
yeah.
dude.
They should get more stage time. Why is it always just Kermit and the guys?
There he is. That's Chief.
That's not me. No, this is pull up. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. That's what I am right now. Speaking of old guy shit.
Dave, we covered the brawl pretty heavily on Tuesday's episode, but since then the suspensions have been handed down. We didn't really get into what's the reliever who went to the Yankees comments.
Middleton.
Keenan Middleton.
Yeah, we didn't really get into that, but I mean, if there's anything you want to touch on, feel free. Obviously.
It's a big he said she said at this point between the front office and multiple players, which is an embarrassment in and of itself. So for those who aren't aware, which I don't know why you'd be listening to this podcast if you weren't, but anyways, the TLDR is Lance Lynn, to a much lesser extent Joe Kelly, and then Keenan Middleton have all kind of taken shots at the clubhouse culture of the White Sox over the last 5, 6, 7 days or whatever. Rick Hahn had his rebuttal saying that Keenan Middleton approached him and said that he would love to he was looking for an extension, I believe is how you could paraphrase it. And Keenan Middleton he was one of the actual bright spots of the team this year. The dude fucking shoved all year before they traded him. And I asked, and there was like so Keenan Middleton went to Hans like, yeah, I'm definitely interested in coming back next year. As he was being traded, as he was being informed he was going to the Yankees. Now, why on earth would Keenan Middleton, a dude who's been hurt and a middling reliever his entire career outside of 1 year with Anaheim where he was their closer for a little bit, why would he just automatically say, no, I'm not interested in coming back next year? He's looking to get paid.
Yep.
That's all that's on his mind. It is dollar signs and that it's not wins. It's not World Series. It's how old is he? I'm guessing around, I mean, it's a dude that knows that
he's 29.
I was going to say 30. So next year I'm sure he'll be 30.
Yep.
A 30-year-old that he has one chance at like a payday. Why on fucking earth would he tell the White Sox he was not going to be interested in coming back next year?
Yeah, he'll be 30 in September.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's going to be 31 next year. So that doesn't make sense on Han's end. Of course, he would be interested in coming back if you cut him the biggest check. That's how it works 99% of the time. Nevertheless, like it, I don't give a shit about the he said, she said. Like, Andrew Vaughn had a quote saying, like, yeah, we finally have a bunch of guys that are pulling from the same rope, kind of taking a shot at, seemed like Lynn, Middleton as well, maybe Kelly.
I have heard, and respectfully, I have heard that Lynn was
I've heard the same.
a little diva-ish.
Yeah, I
have
heard
heard
that something happened this year where he was like he wasn't good in the locker room. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Nothing's good in that locker room. And even if he was a complete dick, if the team was winning, it wouldn't really matter, you know? So it's a complete dumpster fire. It really is. Like, it's funny, like, how many people come out of the woodwork anytime a Sox story like this pops up, which is all too regular, might I add, where people will be like, man, dude, how do you do this? I'm like, welcome to my, like, I don't even know. But, yeah, it's a complete dumpster fire embarrassment, and they should all be ashamed of themselves. I don't really have anything to add other than that.
What about the alleged Grandal-Anderson fight?
Sure, it happened, but like I wrote about that. If Grandal wasn't in the lineup and he wanted to leave the All-Star break early, and Anderson took exception to that, good on Anderson. Fuck that. You can sit here and, like, we don't know. What if it's a tie game in the 9th and we need a lefty to face a righty, and, you know, someone that can work a count? You're fucking pinch hitting, motherfucker. You can sit here for the next couple hours with the rest of us and then catch your flight home.
That's the epitome of the most piss poor attitude that fucking would drive me up a wall. Like, you can't sit there for 2.5 hours, you fucking asshole.
And it's not like that's the bare minimum you have to do.
Yes.
It's not, and you, like, he addressed the team as a leader, or as a veteran per his words, and at the minimum, all you got to do is sit there and watch a baseball game. Fucking like Ozzie Gaines talked about it on our own show. Like, fucking have a couple cocktails while you're watching. Nobody gives a shit. You're adults, you know. Burley used to do it all the time. Obviously, it's different when you're winning baseball games. However, what he should have been doing is taking, let's say, Sebi Savala, backup catcher, or Zach Remillard, this fringe guy that's playing for his baseball life right now. How about you take those guys to the video room and say, hey, like, look at this pitcher. He's tipping this pitch this way. Or you go and watch, tape on Sebi on how he receives pitches. That's what he should be doing. What he could be doing is just sitting there on his fat ass and, fucking watching a baseball doing. What he wanted to do is leave. If all of that is true, then Anderson was completely in the right saying, I'll pay for his fucking ticket out here. Get his ass out. Fuck yeah, I'm completely and totally on Anderson's side.
I'll go one further. If that is true, the Sox are fucking gutless for not DFAing.
How
right there.
What the fuck's
They're
his
fucking
point?
gutless for not
How
DFAing.
is he on the team right now?
For not DFAing him right there is bullshit.
They obviously they're not re-signing him next year.
Oh.
His contract's up. What is his purpose right now?
Zero.
You just traded for that Corey Lee from Houston, who's major league ready by all accounts.
So you have a guy.
Obviously, but
it doesn't matter.
He was hurt, and he's like basically in a rehab, doing his own spring training, from what I understand right now. So it doesn't matter. Like, what is he on the team for? I would have been like, get the fuck out of here too. So good on Anderson for that.
So maybe it's not true. I don't know. I would hope that the White Sox are not that brain dead to not send that fucking guy packing. If he wanted to do that,
they should send him packing because his knees are cooked and he's not good anymore.
Sure, but
this
should have been
different.
This should have been like, oh, okay. Now we add this to it. Sayonara.
Yeah.
And like I was talking to the guys I did the Sox on 35th podcast the other night, and they made a great point. Like in a year, going back, and I think I said this on Tuesday's episode too, but going back to the cornfield game, it's just been L after L after L after L for Anderson. Went like on the field, off the field. He's played bad this year. He's been hurt.
Yeah.
The baby mama drama, like a ton of shit has been just like piling up, and he's a human just like the rest of us. It's probably wearing on his psyche a lot. And I really think that, and we've all seen a million baseball fights, and by fights I mean a million baseball hold me backs.
Yeah.
And rarely, like I was talking to Jason Hernandez, Boris Corp guy, was in the office yesterday. We were talking about it, and like we were trying to name all the times there's actually been a punch connected. We were like kind of Amir Garrett when he took on the Pirates.
Yep.
He tried to fight the entire team. That was awesome. Harper throwing the helmet sideways when he charged against the Giants was kind of awesome. Yep. And then like Robin Ventura and Nolan Ryan. There's been like a small handful of awesome baseball fights. And this one was one of them. If Anderson would have connected on Jose Ramirez's jaw and dropped him, that would have been a W for Anderson. Obviously, he would have gotten suspended and all that, but the season's lost anyways. That would have been maybe, I think, that W he needed to get back to being that cocky prick we all loved as Tim Anderson, instead of the cocky,
he's like neutered.
Insecure prick that we haven't enjoyed watching play baseball over the last year and a half, 2 years. So, like, was that rock bottom? Hopefully. I don't know. I guess there's nowhere. But, like, and he followed that up very miserably. All the cryptic tweets, like, Tim, you should have just fucking laughed at it.
Yeah.
Laugh at it. And then Tito Francona said it best. Boys will be boys.
That's all.
Just say that to the media, and we fucking stop talking about it. Mm-hmm. He's letting it pile up. I honestly do feel bad for him to an extent. Like, it's a lot of self-induced drama. But like I really think Tim wants to be great, and he wants to get paid, and he wants to win baseball games. But he's not helping himself out. That's my take on it. Like he prides himself on being kind of an open book and speaking honestly. Don't fucking do that. Don't fucking do that. You don't need to fucking tell the world your story. Like, keep that in-house, and you won't give these people ammo when something bad does go wrong, because that's how the internet works.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
That's my take on it. But as far, I don't know, White Sox, I mean, Hahn does sound like he's more cryptically saying he might be gone. Have you read any of his quotes, Ed?
I haven't, but I don't see how he can't be, dude.
Well,
typically,
yes.
Typically,
but like,
considering who he works for,
I know, but it just.
But like he's had a bunch of cryptic comments, like, and Scott Merkin flat out asked him, he's like, what do you say to the fans? He's like, I understand the fans want me fired. That's nature of being in pro sports. The only people that have the ability to like fire me are Kenny, Jerry, and then myself. But he's like leaving that door open a little bit, which is kind of weird to me. So maybe he does swallow his pride and step down. I do think he would have a job in fucking like 30 seconds should he do that elsewhere. And I do think that he could be an effective GM should he not have to operate with Jerry Reinsdorf constraints, or an effective, executive of some sort. Maybe not GM. You only typically get one shot at that. But yeah, it's bad.
It's just like this is like Bears Trustman level.
That's the analogy or comparison I've seen floated. This
really okay because I did not see that. It's just like in my brain.
Because that
was rock bottom as a Bears
obviously
fan.
the Sox are my team and the Bears are kind of 1B 1C ish. This is worse to me than those years.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not.
And it's just,
and I know how bad those years were.
And it's so crazy because remember, like when you thought rock bottom would be like the sale cutting up the jerseys, the Drake LaRoche shit. Like they had embarrassing things and they burn it to the ground, tear it all down. Mm-hmm. Then you have like this hope, and you have maybe like, so for all the pain and suffering, you were like on this path, and then you're right back worse than you were. So it feels like it's impossible that they always just have like you shouldn't have two like memorable off the field incidents like this in a decade. For
I think that pales in comparison to what's happening now.
I agree
because it was a quick mop up. It was embarrassing. It was like,
but it's embarrassing.
Yeah,
like it's like what
that
the
was
fuck?
embarrassing. Yeah,
yeah.
It's embarrassing that the fucking GM is arguing through the media with players he just dealt.
Yeah,
And that's not to say that it's not embarrassing. And I'm not even saying on Middleton, because Middleton was asked a question, he answered it.
Yeah.
Like, Lance Lynn's gone out of his way to kind of trash the Sox. It's like, dude, fucking you two get a room.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, fucking air your shit out while you're together. And fucking do it that way instead of like Lance Lynn on AJ Pierzynski's show, like, oh, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Like, nut up or shut up. Say everything then. Don't beat around the bush. And that goes for both parties. If you're gonna be a bunch of pussies and do it like this, then fucking say everything. It's so embarrassing.
But it does feel like they're just locked into like they're like if you have Eloy and Moncada, like they were named by Jesse Rogers and different things. It's like these guys are a big problem because they don't work. They're like the worst.
Jesse Rogers, bless his heart, he named names.
Yeah. But if you have like, hey, like these guys are cornerstones of our future and they're locked up and they're fucking bums, and nobody can make them work. So it's like. How do you fix something that's just like rotten to your core and you're stuck with these guys that you gave all this money to and all the hype to? Like you can't get out of that. And it is like it's like the meatball thing to say, but it does feel like the only guy would have been Ozzy. That's what.
Continue.
No, I really like I don't know. I can't speak to his history with the team.
It's not.
But I do feel like
it was
he's
tumultuous,
a guy who
but it was like brotherly love. A lot of it, I would say.
He does feel like the type of guy who could actually get through to. You would at least have a culture.
There, like, his name always comes up. Ironically, I said this recently as well. I don't know if it's this week, Tuesday or last week or whatever. But what organization, when they're trying to build and establish a culture of winning and winning consistently, goes through 3 managers in 4 years? You can't name a single one across all 4 pro sports, aside from the fucking White Sox right now. Maybe 4 and 5 years after this season, who knows what goes on with Griffel. But every time the Sox are in a managerial search, it's inevitable that Ozzie Guillen's name comes up.
Yeah.
Be it the meathead fans or be it like... And it's like a 50-50 split. Like, fuck Ozzy. Like, he doesn't know the modern game. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, keep him in the booth. He's great there. Or in the pre and post, rather.
That's hard.
I was always more on that side. Like, Ozzy's great at being a TV personality.
He is.
I swear to God, I think that he would. Like, I know he fucking loves bunting and the hit and run and all the shit that analytics say you aren't supposed to do anymore. I do think that if there is one person on this planet who can extract the most out of, I'm not talking about Eloy because he's just kind of a doofus and that's who he is, can extract the most out of Yoan Moncada, it would be Ozzie Guillen.
Well, I always feel like you
and
could
I
just
know people are
hire
gonna
a bench coach
hate that I say that.
But like he knows how to deal with people.
Yeah, it's just hard because we're so close.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
But we're like kind of too close to the sun. It kind of seems like we're being homerish and.
I'm definitely being homerish.
Yeah,
you seen that picture? I love that.
I know, but
guy.
that's why it's like it's hard to. I think personally, as a podcast, it's hard for us to talk about Ozzie Guillen being the manager.
I would have.
I do, but I
even
agree, but I
up
also
to a
like.
year ago.
I agree. Like,
he is. He
like. Well, that's. I think those warts about him, like the bunting and all that. That's probably true, right? But
yeah, definitely.
Can't you just have like the best of both worlds, where it's like you have somebody to like he runs the clubhouse, he runs the culture, and someone else runs the game, like. You have a bench coach.
I don't think Ozzie Guillen would allow that. It would be his show or no show. That's just the kind of type A that he strikes me as. I know we know him like he doesn't know who we are.
No.
If you know, you know. But like we obviously have a small relationship. I'm friends with his kids and everything. But like I do think that it's a straight personality thing that he would bring to the club and get them at least playing a fun brand of baseball. Even if he like sucks at all the modern day shit that a manager's not supposed to suck at, they suck anyways. At least we'd have entertainment.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Isn't that the point of being a fan, is to be entertained? Like we'd instead of like obsessing over Pedro Griffel saying something fucking stupid in the media after a game, like, oh, like I love Andrew's plate approach when he's
No, I mean,
swung at 3 straight breaking balls off the plate.
Yeah. I mean, I've said that about the Hawks this upcoming year like 100 times. Like they're not gonna be good, but I'm gonna have fun. Like, and that's like, and I'm very excited for that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
so, like I want
Cubs right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. I mean, they're in a playoff spot, but
You know my point.
I understand.
They weren't supposed to be per se.
Right?
But
yeah. But they're likable and they
Yeah.
play hard and they're getting the most out of it, and like that's gets you through the summer.
Yes.
You know, and like
That's where my fandom's become. I just want the
Does.
Sox to get me through the summer now,
yeah.
and they're failing miserably at that. Like all you gotta do is get me
They're
through the summer.
you have depression.
It's
You have
apathy
depression.
at this point.
No, but like I know it's apathy at this point, but that is a sign of like you're depressed. Like, I don't fucking
Okay.
care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Sure,
You're just
sure.
like
Yeah.
you're just like an angry Eeyore walking around.
The
Zoloft guy.
like if so when with all this shit to put a bow on everything right now, with all the shit that's happened with the White Sox in the last week, especially with like and you can tell that Isaac Guillen is always kind of sort of lobbying for the next managerial opening with the White Sox with his rhetoric on the pre and post game shows.
He did it on our show.
He did it on our show.
Yeah.
He's always
Not that he remembers.
It's subtle, but it's very not subtle
Yeah.
if you know to look for it.
Yep.
And like he was saying exactly how he would have handled the clubhouse from spring training from day one, and it was the complete opposite of what Pedro Griffel said. He's like, hey, like I was the new guy here. I wanted the leaders to, like when I got in here, to kind of step up and like show themselves, and the guys that I thought were leaders, they ended up not being leaders, so I had to step in then. It's like, what?
It's too late, dude.
What?
Yeah.
If you're on day 2 of not establishing a culture in spring training, it's too late.
Yeah.
Let alone fucking May or June or July or whenever. Like, you're already lost.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh, wait, I thought we were supposed to follow that guy's lead. Now it's like it's gonna cause a sense of confusion. And I'm still of the opinion that Pedro Griffel is like so far down the list of things to be angry about, because you can change a fucking manager at the snap of a finger.
4 and 5 years.
4 and 5 years, but like and the organizational warts run so much deeper than just the manager.
Yeah.
Obviously he is a part of the problem, but not the problem. Like everybody wants his head on a stake too, but like it's a fucking manager. Who cares?
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, it's a complete dumpster fire.
Yeah. It's not a dumpster fire on the north side,
Yeah, they're
as Chief said.
they're a good baseball team.
Yeah, it's not a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
The boys are feeling themselves. Dansby Swanson said, we think we can compete with anyone.
Yep. Well, they just took 2 out of 3 from the best team in the National
Yes,
League.
got to
Yeah.
have that mindset, and you're right. They just take 2 out of 3.
It's like they're like, at what point is it just like, well, Tyon fixed himself. He was great again last night against the Mets. So I think that's like 6 weeks in a row, or 6 starts in a row where he's.
I always
gone
felt good about him too. I like that sign.
He
when it
was
happened.
so bad.
But he
at the
was
start
very
of the
bad.
year. Yeah,
He was very bad.
And so it's like, and then you hear the Stroman's on the IL for 15 days, and he's just like, look, I've had this hip problem that's been really bothering me. So if he gets that, can have that like cleaned up where he's feeling healthier, can he come back and maybe he's not what he was in April and May where he was so dominant, but like could he be a guy who's not getting shelled, and then all of a sudden Drew Smiley doesn't matter and you have like a pretty good rotation.
Yeah.
And they have strength of schedule wise the rest of the way. I think it's the easiest in the National League. And it's like, it's right. It's the division's right there for them. They're in a wild card spot right now. I think they're a game and a half behind Milwaukee.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
a game and a half behind Milwaukee.
In a wild card.
In a wild card spot. And they have, I think they have 6 more against Milwaukee. So like it's right in your own hands. So it's unbelievable. They're right there.
Cubs gonna win the fucking.
They're gonna win the pennant.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and they're
The pennant. Well,
they're a
let's
fun.
worry about the Central first.
Yeah, whatever. They're a fun baseball team. Like they're an easy team to like. What do we have there? Just the updated standings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, game and a half out.
Yeah.
And the other thing about this, I feel like they haven't had an off day in like a month.
It has been a while. It
Yeah,
feels like.
they're playing Monday nights. They're playing Wednesday. Like I think they've played like 15 games in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're Bellinger's like the best player in baseball.
Stud.
Best player in baseball. So his last month, for July, he had 8 homers, 24 RBI. He hit 400. OPS was over 1,000. So like he's He's the best player in baseball, and he was great again last night against the Mets too. So, got to finish off the Mets and win this series too. But they just keep picking up wins.
Keep adding coins. Keep
Yeah.
stacking.
Yep.
Lance, can you pronounce the guy that the Bears signed? His name?
Yannick.
Yes, Yannick Ngakoue. Big signing,
Dude,
Big
did we
signing.
not talk about that the other day?
No, but
No.
it happened after we recorded.
Okay.
Well, we didn't do it Tuesday, but
last week.
Yannick
Yeah.
Ngakoue.
I'm really high on this team.
I don't know why this guy can't stay on a team though. That's the only.
Why
strange
was
thing.
he
He-
available so late?
He's had eight sacks minimum every
Yes,
year of his
yes.
career. He's only 27 years old. He did have like a very public Twitter battle with Shad Khan's son when he was with Jacksonville. Like they were like beefing on Twitter, like, hey, pay me, no pay me. So he had a couple of I know he like turned down a franchise tag one time. Like he's just had kind of a weird contract thing, but like you hear about like his from teammates, they say, because I asked one of them, and they say that he's like good dude. So
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that because that's a little nerve wracking if you can't stay on a team.
yeah.
But
No, this is his 5th team.
1 year deal, no harm, no foul.
Exactly.
We need some pass rushers.
Yeah.
He could rush the fucque
He
quarterback.
can do that.
Like he said, 8 sacks minimum.
How do you spell
per
his
year.
name?
Yannick
Ngakoue.
Ngakoue.
Koue. Yannick Ngakoue.
Yeah. So good. I mean, what's there not to like? You know, but there's literally nothing not to like unless if you hear that
20
he's
sacks
just
last
gonna
2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they
poison the locker room. But
no, but it doesn't sound like that's like that's been the problem. So, and then one of them was like a mid-year trade too. So it's like, yeah, you're gonna add 2 teams there. So he's always been productive, and it's like if you can get to the quarterback, that's something they did not have. Now they got
it was the biggest worry.
well, and they signed 2 guys. You got DeMarcus Walker, and you got
I know, but
yeah.
you need 2. But
Yeah,
before
totally,
him, you
totally.
we only had Walker.
Right, and it's and like he's better than Walker. So
Did they draft a rush?
they draft 2 defensive tackles, and there's been a lot of positive reviews on Gervon Dexter too, the Florida kid
Yeah, yeah.
who's massive.
He
He's
was
6th,
he had all the fucking potential.
Yeah,
He just-
they drafted him on the
second round. Yeah,
on the on the shit you can't 6'6", 313.
no, it was but like so the thing that they would say about him is that they were really asking him at Florida to play like Ted Washington or Vince Wilfork and just be like a 2-gap, just be huge and stay in the middle.
Yeah.
So he never really got to like. Now he's in this system where he is like a big time athlete. He was like a highly
playing at
recruited
3.
basketball player too. Like he's a good athlete, but he's just going to be a 1-gap, like because that's Eberflus's system.
Yeah.
Like, he's just going to shoot gaps and like blow shit up. And they're like, oh, fuck, this guy's kind of like a freak. So they're going to, and who knows how much he'll play. And I'm sure there'll be some adjustments and rookie, bumps along
Mistakes,
the way.
yeah,
but
yeah.
like they have their front 7. Eberflus is on the Kyle Long podcast. The 2 Long brothers have a podcast. And he's like, what position group? He's like, I don't know, maybe the whole front 7. He's like, like we have Tremaine Edmonds. We got Edwards. Yeah, and he's like, he's got these edge rushers now, and like we got the young kids in the middle. Like, it's I am getting hyped to the fucking moon
I am
about
too.
this team.
I am too.
Shit, big first preseason game this weekend.
Yep, excited for that.
Yeah, it's just
Who
gonna
they got? I don't even know.
Titans.
Titans. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be fun.
like who
The
knows
boys
who
play ball.
plays or
Scout and
whatever.
Will.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2 former guests.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So we'll see.
I hope that fucking Giannis Ngakoue, is that how you say it?
Yannick
Yannick.
Ngakoue,
Ngakoue, just
Yannick.
tears apart
Will Levis.
Skoronic.
Skoronsky.
Yeah,
I'll always
Can't say
Skoronsky.
nothing right.
Northwestern grad.
All right, we could wrap it up. Anything on Rocky? Obviously, the services today. I just saw Foley had a good quote about him. I wouldn't say he revitalized the franchise. I would say he saved the franchise.
He did. So R.I.P. Rocky. So that's being live streamed like as we speak. So we're not watching it, but Danny Wirt's a good guy. Lost his dad. So that's tough. So
Yeah, R.I.P. Rocky. For
R.I.P.
Sure.
Rocky.
All right, then. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for watching. I got a weird podcast on Dog Walk today. If you want to check it out, I talked about periods with Kate for a half hour. So
Have fun
yeah,
with
I
that.
figured I would talk about it.
How much did you learn?
A lot.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
Ed, I'm gonna pass on that one.
Could you
Could you hype up his podcast
watch
a little
and
bit?
give us a book report on Tuesday?
People can go watch.
There you go.
It was wild work. All right then, we're out of here. Thank you guys. Go Bears.